is BYU football getting the respect they deserve? I was a little alarmed yesterday looking at the graphic of the AP top 25 votes and seeing that a good number of AP voters left BYU off their ballot altogether. Were you surprised by that?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is what we see every year. I mean, was I surprised by it? No. But I think from a football perspective, it's surprising. But from a branding, PR, BYU deals with X, Y, and Z every single year because they're BYU perspective. No, I'm not surprised at all. And I think that BYU consistently outperforms expectation, and I think that's why they've been able to kind of build this momentum that they have. I go back to the Zach Wilson era, if you will, and that season sort of launched them, I feel like, into this new level, if you will, and now You're headed into the Big 12, and I think that they're slowly starting to get that respect, but right now I still think it's crazy that there are AP voters who wouldn't even include them in the top 25, even if it's the number 25 slot.
Yeah, and I mean, after a dominating win, and I think this is the biggest issue, okay? So you're BYU football, and you are 25th in the country. You dominate South Florida. I mean, in all phases of the game. You go down there and you just swoop, and you only rise 4. And you have guys who, had BYU at number 20 to start the season, off the ballot now. So wait, let me get this right. You had us at 20, and we dominate USF, and now we're off the ballot altogether.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, if I'm a BYU football player, and I'll ask Harris this, but Harris is going to say, well, we don't pay attention to that.
No way.
No, we don't. Yeah, you do. And if I'm Kalani and if I am Tom Homo, I look at Utah football, and I feel very fortunate that if I'm a Ute, hey, we're only 13th in the country after what was one of our worst performances probably in the last 2-3 years. If it could go wrong, it did go wrong, and Utah only falls to number 13. I'm surprised it didn't fall a little further. But this is kind of the perception being reality thing I feel like we always talk about with football on this show, and that is that, hey, listen, it's BYU. As I always say, BYU, you're always going to have to do it twice as well as the next guy to get the credit that you're due. And I think when you look at the way that people voted in the AP this week, it was clearly a slap in the face to BYU.
Yeah.
BYU could not have done more, but where am I going to go with this? Well, if you score 60, it looks better than 50, right? If you don't take your foot off the gas and you and I'm not saying that you should go out and humiliate people, but if you curb stomp USF and you score 60 on them, my guess is that's a lot more noticeable to voters than scoring 50.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's kind of this Alabama-Utah State conversation we were having yesterday on the show about how Bama goes out and throws up 55-0 score, and I think that it's almost like it's not even about 60 being this like magical number. It's more about, okay, if you're going to put up 55, the other team better have no points, or if you're going to put up 60, then the other team better have like 10. It's like you just have to, again, the way you win games absolutely matters in college football when it comes to AP rankings and the college football playoff and in the way your season's going to go. And that's why I say, yeah, 55 or 50 points, 50-21, like that's a dominating performance, but you're not just out here to win the game or to dominate the team across from you. You're out here to make a point and prove a point to all those folks out east.
Because all those folks out east don't watch your games.
Yeah.
No, I can't believe that any of the voters who left BYU off their ballot, I don't believe they saw even a minute BYU and USF. I just don't buy it, because if you did, you wouldn't. There's no way that you leave BYU off that ballot. There just isn't. I mean, it makes no sense. And I say this about Kyle Whittingham and Utah. San Diego State's another team that comes to mind that got absolutely beat badly in the opener of Snapdragon Stadium. I mean, that was a huge moment in time where at the end of the game you had empty seats, you had empty stands, and that does not look good when you're trying to make your case to get into the Big 12. I think that's a really difficult situation. So I feel like we almost say it too much now. Perception is reality.
Well, and I think for
that's
both
just the way it
sides,
is.
for both sides, right? I mean, obviously, perception is reality for every college football team that comes into the AP top 25, and I think that includes Alabama. I mean, we're having this greater reaching conversation about Alabama just being auto bid into the number 1 overall team in the country because it's Nick Saban, and
That's right.
everyone in the preseason was saying this is the best team that he's had, and who knows how long. I mean, that's what perception can do for you. So I think, like for Utah as an example, I think that a lot of people are kind of making the point that they're lucky not to have slid further down the poll.
I would be one of those people.
Yeah, and so I think, again, perception's reality. In this conversation, I love this conversation because I think that, when we look at BYU and everything that's gone on lately, and then you look at the football program itself and the X's and O's and how they're actually playing on the field, they played a good ball game. Like, Utah played a halfway decent game, but both teams have things that they needed to do better to get to where they wanted to go. If Utah tackles even a touch better, I got to think they win that ball game. If BYU throws up 60 instead of 50 and has a couple more, possessions for the ones, who the hell knows where they would have wound up. But my point just is that, yeah, perception is reality in sports, and I think it applies to everything. So that's why I say, like, if you're BYU, it's like full steam ahead. Now, that said, you did win. You did dominate that team, and now you have an opportunity in week 2 to go out and do that again. But the problem is that everyone thinks you're going to get beat by Baylor, and that's a problem. So if you can, it's a good thing for you, though, to be a dog, because then if you go out and win that game, it's way more impactful. Because, again, the perception thing is alive and well.
But how much and this is going to make me sound like a homer. I really don't care what people think. I think this is damaging to the AP. I mean, if you leave BYU off your ballot, I mean, you have zero credibility, none whatsoever. I mean, there is nobody who knows college football that thinks BYU is not a top 25 team. That there is nobody that can make a logical argument that BYU is not one of the 25 best teams in the country. And I point to Andy Greeter, who is in Minnesota as an AP voter, who writes more about MLS soccer than he does about college football.
Facts.
The guy shouldn't have an AP college football vote. I mean, it's embarrassing.
Well, that conversation about who should have a vote and who shouldn't have a vote and how they go about that process and the integrity of the AP, this kind of goes back to this conversation about SC and them climbing the ladder and how this process takes place in college football. There's this whole idea that you have people, as you just said, who are more well versed in MLS than college football voting on the AP top 25.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me, and I understand that college football writers or people of respect in the industry have to be the ones voting on this, but it seems to me that we're more focused on someone being able to say they're a writer for the Tribune or whatever Minnesota's Salt Lake Tribune would be, let's say, than them actually knowing what they're talking about in college football. Because I tend to agree. Nobody in their right mind leaves BYU out of the top 25. Even if you have them at 25th in the nation, I can respect that, because I'm sure you had reasons for that. But to leave them out altogether, I think is a little ridiculous.
And again, I only point to this Andy Greeter character because I don't know that he's a bad guy. He just clearly doesn't know college football. I mean,
it's not personal.
No, I think if you follow him on Twitter or look at his Twitter account, you very clearly see a guy that covers, Minnesota United. Excuse me.
Yes.
You very clearly see a guy that covers Minnesota United, not a guy that covers college football. And I think that's the problem with the AP poll, and I think that's why so many people want a different way of measuring, who gets in where. And I think that's why college football doesn't put as much weight as it probably should or could on the power of my voice. But you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know exactly what you mean. I think that people want, and we've wanted this for, probably a decade. Like, we've wanted a way to not only rank teams, but decide who gets into the college football playoff? How many teams should that be? Like, we've wanted, like, I think as sports fans, just generally speaking, we crave like a rubric that says,
Yes.
hey, you made it or you didn't make it. And we get that in professional sports pretty much everywhere. You know, I can't really think of a professional sport off the top of my head where you don't make it. Now, in professional sports, there's a lot of conversations around, well, is the rubric good or bad? Like in Major League Baseball or the NFL, you have a lot of conversation around the wild card setup and all that good stuff. But the problem is in college football, there's too many damn teams to have a rubric. And that's why I've always maintained that you got to have a falling off point where you
Right.
have to
Sure.
you have to check this criteria just to get into the conversation. Then that allows us to create that rubric. And that's why I think things like the AP, you know, for schools like BYU who are they're not in a conference right now. They're still independent and have been, obviously. For teams like that who are independent constantly or regularly, that's going to be a struggle. Like for Notre Dame, you have people that'll tell you for the last 10 years Notre Dame has been some amazing program. And then other people will tell you, oh, this has been a horrible program. You know, and that's the issue I have. There should be some sort of measuring stick to say, yeah, you know, it's a down year. Outside of, hey, they're not winning games they should win.
Right.
That's the problem we have.
Yeah, I don't think there's a clear-cut criteria. My question is there a clear-cut criteria to be an AP voter? That's
a
the
whole
biggest
other
question.
thing too.
I mean,
Yeah, I think it's a very valid question. And clearly, there must be, you know,
Yeah.
but clearly there's not a stringent enough one to make sure that things like leaving a team like BYU, who performs at the level they do, out of the top 25, to make sure that type of thing doesn't happen. You know, so I don't know. It to me, for the longest time, I'll be honest, I wasn't some huge college football nut, and this is part of the reason why. Like, the USC thing annoys the living hell out of me. Like, USC gets more credit because of their brand than because of what they do on the football field. And I get it. That matters right now in our current setup. That's the reality. But
well, and I think more people watch USC football, and USC played Rice.
Yeah.
Boat raced Rice, dominated Rice. Caleb Williams is everything you wanted in a quarterback.
Totally.
There's this great story about his advocacy work off the field this week. Like, that's what we're missing at BYU. I mean, you don't have a ton of eyes on a BYU USF game. I think BYU Baylor will be widely consumed by most college football pundits this week. It's a huge game. But when you look at BYU and USF, nobody's paying attention to that game. So nobody, and this is why I asked the question today on the show, is BYU being disrespected? I think they don't get the respect that they deserve. Are people like that, it's only BYU, screw them? No, but I think BYU's an afterthought. I think BYU's, you know, out here in the periphery of college football. Well, but I think they've earned a seat at the table, and I think I simply put, believe that they deserve an advocate, much like you deserve an advocate when you have an accident.
You see what he did
an
there?
attorney.
Advocates, and like it all kind of works together.
You know, this show is presented by the Advocates Injury Attorneys, UtahAdvocates.com. If you've been in an accident, if you need help, friends, please do not wait. Do not try to tough it out. If you look down at your feet right now, there are no bootstraps to pull yourself up by. Get with the advocates at UtahAdvocates.com. They are going to fight for you. They're going to make sure that they defer your medical bills so you don't have to worry about that. You don't pay them anything. They have a free, no cost, no obligation consultation. And if you go to the advocates and they take your case and you guys wind up working together, you pay nothing out of pocket. There is no cost to you until and unless the advocates win your case. That's how good they are at what they do. They don't charge you until they win your case at UtahAdvocates.com. UtahAdvocates.com. Make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show. Yes, the Advocates are our presenting sponsor of the Monty Show. Appreciate them coming on board as we talk football on this show. And I want to get your comments because I see a lot of people commenting on the show this morning about this. Lopes fan Gabe, the first one in this morning. Hello.
Well,
good to see you, Lopes fan Gabe. Karen Montemayor is back. Good morning.
Casual.
Can't believe your favorite family member wasn't invited to Hawaii.
Well,
Karen, just didn't have a place for you to sleep. Sorry.
No.
Yeah, Jesse Harsh says, morning, boys. Listen, I'm just saying if Charlie Brewer had started against Florida, but seriously, I've been saying all offseason, Utah is their own worst enemy, and just like clockwork. Well, I think with the Utes, Kyle Whittingham's press conference was very telling. It was very interesting because he talked a lot about whether or not they should have reviewed that goal line play with Cam Rising. I don't think they should have reviewed it. I think that there was not enough evidence to overturn that. I think it would have been a wasted review. Did he get in? I don't know. Cam was pretty adamant he got in, but I don't think that's why they lost the game. If they review that and it's a touchdown, sure, Utah probably wins that game. My point is you didn't tackle well. You just did not seem prepared for that game. And the more I think about this and the more I've watched this Kyle Whittingham press conference now several times, this was just a calamity of errors. That to me, that's all this was. It was plain and simply a calamity of errors. And you look at the travel problem afterward. They didn't get home till Sunday night. You look at the fact that they essentially slept in an airport in Gainesville, eventually wound up spending a couple hours in a hotel thanks to the folks at the Gators.
Right.
You just understand that this trip was a calamity of errors. And you wound up in a situation where you didn't tackle well, you didn't execute well, you didn't get enough production out of the wide receiver spot. I thought Cam Rising was fine. He wasn't terrible. He wasn't great. The interception, I think, was, because of the time of the game, it was a huge interception. It's not why they lost the game. The defense is squarely responsible for the loss of this football game. And I think your offense is going to be fine. And I love Brant Keithy. He can't be your go-to guy. He is not fast enough. He is not elite as an athlete enough to be the guy who can get himself open on every single snap. We need for the Utes to establish a go-to number one clear-cut wide receiver, and it probably needs to be Devon Vele. And I know you're probably tired of hearing me say that already. This Utah team is capable of winning the Pac-12, but what we just talked about is absolutely the truth. Who's the best team in the Pac-12 right now? Without question, it is USC. And if you want to beat USC October 8th in Salt Lake City, Devon Vele is going to have a much larger role in this offense, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree that right now, today, USC, based on rankings, based on how these teams played, is obviously the best team in the Pac-12. I just don't think that that's in dispute, frankly. I mean, obviously, we know what happened to Oregon. We know what happened to Utah. And the rest of the conference, frankly, in my opinion, just doesn't matter outside of SC. I just think that that's the truth. I get that Arizona had a nice little outing, but at the end of the day, when we talk about who's going to win the Pac-12, those three schools are the ones we're talking about. So we'll see. I also think it's important to talk about the fact that Kyle Whittingham has a propensity to bounce back very quickly. So yeah. I would expect a bounce back performance.
In Southern Utah is an awfully nice bounce back.
But it's not. Well, it is. But I want to see better tackling technique. I you should be able to suffocate that team. Like I'm talking about.
I want to see face masks in the chests of SUU jerseys.
Come on, man.
Like when San Diego State rolls into town in 2 weeks, you need to be just fully racked and ready to go.
Yeah,
without doubt. Let's see. Gabe Rasmussen wants to know, hey Jake, what happened to the teacher chick you dated like 8 months ago?
Bro, you're way behind schedule, bro.
Eric C. has your back. He says, Eric C. says, don't bring her up, Gabe. LOL. Yeah, please don't bring her up. Please.
Yeah, why are you bringing stuff up, man?
Gabe, relax. Settle down. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. Greg Hawkins says, I'm excited for Texas's annual loss to Kansas this November at Patrick Bourne. Patrick Bourne is drawing some ire in the comments this morning. Let's see. Patrick says, with you on the USC annoyance, just like Texas for the Big 12. Hey, man, USC's good. I mean, is there anybody who doubts the veracity of USC's Pac-12 dominance this year? Because I'm not going to be that guy who's going to do that.
Yeah, I mean, clearly they're shooting for the stars. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I think that, again, I'm not going to be the guy that gets ahead of anything. I think SC has to earn their way. I think SC has to prove they can beat somebody legitimate. And we'll get to see what it is. And once they beat a legitimate team, then we'll see. We can talk about that and talk about them winning the Pac-12. But we know what Utah is. And frankly, I was extremely disappointed in what Oregon is. But I can't confidently say what SC is yet because I want to see them against a legit team.
Yep. Eric C. says, can we talk about the pros? NFL season is now. What happened to San Diego State, Eric? Hello? Eric, hello?
Hey,
Is this thing,
Snapdragon.
wait, this thing must be broken somehow. Eric C. does not want to talk about San Diego State. They're not good. What happened, Eric? Are you now listen, and I'm all for talking about that sex machine, Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert. That's my dude.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all about that.
Mm-hmm.
But while you're here right now, I mean, why are we not talking San Diego State? I mean, it's
having fun is the name of the game.
Yeah, Aztec Nation, we all about this. New
Yeah.
stadium, beautiful facilities.
Hey, excuse me. It's Snapdragon Stadium.
Excuse me, Snapdragon Stadium, you know, in the Pac-12 and the Big 12, and we're running this thing, and,
Yeah.
you know.
I gotta say, I'm just fired up to be here today.
Come on, man.
Somebody forgot to tell San Diego State they actually have to play football to win a football game, because they did not, and that was not good. You know. Anyway, I'll move on. Greg Hawkins says, I don't care about the NBA, but I'm still here to listen. Appreciate you, Greg Hawkins. Good to see you. By the way, I want to remind everybody that we are on the precipice of amazingness here, because we are sending 2 listeners to see BYU and Notre Dame at the Shamrock Series in Las Vegas. That event is a week from Saturday. How is that possible? Saturday, September 17th, we are going to watch BYU in Oregon, and at the half of that game, we are going to pull the winner, and it's all going to happen at Barbecue Pit Stop in Lehigh. Here's how you win a trip to see BYU in Las Vegas. 2 nights at the Palms Resort Casino Hotel, 2 tickets to the game, and a $250 Maverick gas card to get you there. All you got to do is go to any of the 5 Barbecue Pit Stop locations in Utah: Layton, Lehigh, Logan, St. George, and, of course, our good friends in Murray. Make sure you walk in. There's a box on the counter with our beautiful faces all up in it. Fill out the little slip, drop it in the box, and you are entered to win a trip for 2 to the Shamrock Series in Las Vegas. Make sure you go in there and you tell them, hey, man, heard about you on the Monty Show. Where is it? And I have I've confirmed through another listener.
Excuse me, a source?
A source close to the Barbecue Pit Stop program.
And your feeling is?
And my feeling is, based on what barbecue industry sources tell me, is that certain Barbecue Pit Stop locations, in fact, do carry the Italian Chop House seasoning.
Hey, guys.
Which I'm telling you is the best one out there. But
yes,
no matter your flavor, no matter what you want super spicy, you want real tame, Barbecue Pit Stop not only has all of your spices, rubs, and sauces, they've also got the Traeger. You are an Ironwood 885 guy.
Yes.
Okay? Now,
yes.
even though the other day, Jake, and I forgot to tell this story, and we probably should tell this story because I think it's an important one.
It is, yeah.
Jake humiliated me.
What?
Here in Hoyt. We were surrounded by a large gathering of friends and family for Mrs. Monty's 50th birthday party.
Right,
And we were all grubbing down, and we were men.
Right.
We were sweaty without shirts on.
I'm for real.
Slapping the chest like we're good after it.
I'm for real.
And there was a whole bowl of wings. I walked over there, and I picked out every drum.
Y'all feel me?
I used my hands because I'm a man, and that's what I do. I share my DNA with others.
Bro,
So I
what are you
dug
talking
into that
about, man?
bowl of wings, and I pulled out drum after drum after drum, and I must have had 2 or 3 drums on my plate at that point. And they were amazing. And I go over, I take my plate, and there's no vegetables on this plate. There is only drums.
Right.
Only drums. Take my plate. I walk over to my seat. I sit down, and I just start gnashing, just destroying, just eating that dead chicken. And it was good. It was good. And then along comes Jake. And this hurts me to say this out loud. And I'm not telling you to jump on board and criticize Jake or, tell him what a fool he is. But Jake walked over with a plate of like 20 wings, and I was impressed until he put the wing down on the plate on the table, and I realized it was all flats.
No.
And then all the other men in the room realized it was all flats.
I'm sorry if you're offended by that.
And all of a sudden, we were sitting in an empty room because nobody wanted to be associated with a man who would eat flats when there was a whole bowl of drums. Jake, I don't know. Maybe that teacher was onto something when you dumped her by text.
Well,
I'm not sure.
I did everything that I could do.
He broke up with you over text message?
Yes.
This whole
Yes,
soliloquy
I
was
did.
about Jake eating flats.
Yeah, pretty much.
Instead of drums. Nobody does that. I want you to understand. Nobody eats flats.
Okay, first of all,
Nobody.
the whole story is fabricated.
3/4 of this is inaccurate.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
What?
You never got up. I actually was the one who got up.
That's not the
And
point.
went and got all the wings. And it was the bowl actually was mostly flats and like 4 drums. Now me being the nice guy that I am, being considerate and warm and big-hearted and everything that you would want in a person. Yeah, for me, thank you. I got all the drums I could for you, and ultimately, you got it done.
Okay. First of all, I got my own drums.
No, you didn't.
Second of all, I took the drums off your plate that you were bringing over to me. And anyway,
I'm a man.
Nobody. Tanner Plummer says, "Hey Jake, could we get the Lisa Wilson Cougar growl drop?"
Yeah, I played it. I played it.
Yeah, but nobody does flats. Nobody does flats.
Yeah,
They
come
don't. Renee Roca says flats are for real men. Eat them in a single bite like an animal.
Yes,
Drums,
yes.
drums are for children who don't know how to eat wings. Tanner says, "Good for you, Jake. Keep being you no matter what." Exactly right. I
Yes.
mean, no. Greg Hawkins says flats plus blue cheese equal the best. Drums plus ranch are for casual. Greg, stop it.
You're casual.
Stop it. Eric C says, I like chicken nuggets too. Gabe.
Chicken nuggies.
Sterling Tracy says, bro, flats are bomb. Hold your ground. No, they're not. I'm telling you right now. Listen. I am begging you. Okay, and I don't know how much more I can put my soul into this.
Seems like a great opportunity to slurp and splash.
If you walk up to me with a plate of flats when there are drums available to you, I'm punching you in the face. Like
I'm gonna get medieval on your
it's
ass.
gonna happen. You can't choose a flat over a drum.
What now? Let me tell you what now.
What are we talking about?
I think that
My God.
that this event that we're gonna do a week from this Saturday on the 17th is gonna be a proving ground for wings versus flats because we're gonna have a
Dude.
smoker and it's gonna be great.
No. All right, let's ask Harris LaChance. He is a large human being who I believe will have an opinion on this. Harris, welcome to the show, and we must ask you now.
Yeah.
And your manhood's on the line here, dude.
Okay.
Drums or flats when you eat wings?
You're gonna hate me, but I'm gonna say flats.
How does this
better,
happen?
dude?
No, they're
Push
not.
The middleman. Oh my word, bro! And you dip it in ranch, and just oh my goodness, man.
Wait, so ranch or blue cheese?
Oh, ranch always. I'm a ranch guy.
Okay, so I'll give you a 50-50 split
Give me a
then.
50-50 then, because. But listen, yeah, if you don't have ranch, I'm not eating them though.
Yeah, I'm not.
Blue cheese, get out of here, dude.
I'm telling you, the only people on this show who like blue cheese are Utah fans. Greg Hawkins, who is a diehard Utah fan, loves him some blue cheese, and I don't understand it very well at all. But having said that, Harris LaChance, welcome to the show. How was the humidity in Tampa over the weekend?
Oh my word, I think it was like 99%, almost 100. We were almost swimming down there. So, and we wore the all whites, so it turned into a wet T-shirt contest pretty fast.
That's amazing. For an offensive lineman, I'm sure you were thrilled about that.
Yeah, we were excited.
But one of the things I do want to ask you about is the uniforms, because everybody's excited about the Royal helmets, and Baylor's coming to town, and you guys are going to have on the absolute smoking fits this weekend. How much do you guys talk about your uniforms before games? Like, are you hyped over this?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, it's not like a game changer. And we try and look as cool as we can. I'd like to be, I've self-proclaimed myself as one of the most swaggiest O linemen.
Okay.
But with the jerseys and stuff, it's cool, man. It's like, oh yeah, okay, we're wearing all blue this week. That should be cool. And then that's
Nice.
about that.
Yeah.
That's
But
about
see,
as far as it goes.
I actually think with Nike, you guys get quite a bit of swag, like the Sailor Cougar logo with the hat. Well, everybody gets hyped over that. But you must now listen. I'm a big dude. I'm an all black guy. I wear black all the time. It's just my color. You must have a favorite uniform color.
Yeah. That's a good question.
You're thinking about it.
I am thinking about it because I've gone back and forth. I mean, we talked about it. I really like the all white with the royal numbers and stuff. That's really cool. But I also love, and this is going to sound dumb, but I also love the classic, just the white pants with the navy, because that's kind of what I grew up watching BYU in, right?
Yes.
And that's the classic, like, that's the era. So when we wear that, I'm like, we're classic BYU here. I'm a fan of switching it up. The royal's cool. Everybody loves the royal, but it's cool. I'm like, whatever we wear is cool. So
nice. Harris LaChance joins the show. Thanks to our good friends at Papa Murphy's. Generally every Wednesday, and usually it's a little earlier, but I don't know if you noticed, Harris, we're in Hawaii right now, where it is humid like crazy. I don't think I've ever sweated this much. And I'm a Maui guy more than a Kona guy, but I'm telling you now, the humidity here is crazy. So let me ask you about the weather. Let me ask you about the game. I mean, you guys dominated, and we're going to talk about how good the offensive line was in a minute. But you guys dominated. Did the weather have any impact on you guys at all? Was there any cramping issues? Like, how did you feel physically?
No, they took good care of us. That whole week we were hydrating really good and drinking a lot of Pedialyte. Really, we've got a great nutrition guy here who helps us stay on the ball and kind of prepared us for the humidity and for the heat. We got lucky because the sun wasn't out when we were playing because of the lightning delays and all that stuff. But for the most part, it was good. I actually like the humidity. I think it's good for your skin, man. It's dry over here, man, in Utah.
Were you exfoliating? So during the delay, you guys were doing facials and exfoliating,
exactly.
Right?
I was like, I'm loving this, dude. Seriously, I was like, let's stay here, man. I mean, freak, dude. It feels good out here, man. So I was loving it, man. We were sweating, but it was a good time.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's one of those things where so much of this game is mental, and I think if you tell yourself, oh, man, I'm worried about cramps or it's really going to be humid, I think it plays that mental game. But the thing that I thought really stood out is there was some big guy playing right guard for you guys that absolutely looked fantastic. What was that like for you? You're inside at guard, and it was very clear to me you guys got whatever you wanted off that right side, especially in the running game, protection-wise. I thought you guys looked really good. How did it feel at right guard, and how do you feel like you guys played over there?
I think we played good. There's always things to improve on, little things to tune up, especially with the first game. But it was a good win. Playing right guard's fun. I'm a big guy to be down in a 3-point stance, but I've gotten used to it now, and we're rolling, man. So it was really fun. Great to get that win. Now I feel like that was ages ago, man. I'm excited for this game coming up, man, for real.
Well, it's a big one, and I would imagine with Baylor in town this weekend, I would imagine that you guys. How do you feel about that game last year? When I say to you, hey, look back on Baylor last year, is it still meaningful to you? I mean, obviously that was a big game on the schedule last year. It didn't end the way you guys wanted to. Are you guys looking at that tape at all? Are you thinking about that game? What does last year's game mean to you?
Yeah, no, it means a lot. I mean, they have a lot of returning starters as well, so it's good to learn. For me personally, too, I mean, I didn't get to play in that game. I got hurt right before that game, and so I didn't even get to play. And it was tough because, obviously that is against, two of our old coaches. So we know them really well. But at the same time, it's just, we're playing against their defense, not their offense. You know what I mean? So it'll be cool to see those guys afterwards. But right now, it's just focusing in and saying, what can we do to be better? And well, I think we're a better team than we were last year, and I think it's going to show. So it should be really fun. I'm excited. It's going to be a great game, and it's a great opponent, right? You respect your opponent, and you're excited to kind of go against them to see how it's all going to play out, man.
Yeah, and I also think that one of the things that matters, and I think it matters a lot, is that Grimes is there and that you guys have that relationship with him. And I know you're going up against their defense, but there's an emotional tie there. I mean, especially for an offensive lineman like you, I mean, you know the impact that those guys had on your program. So I think it's perfectly natural for that. But having said that, hey, by the way, you guys really need this win. This is a huge game for the program right now.
Oh, yeah, for sure. No, it's a huge game, man.
So, and I say that, and here's why I asked that. Do you guys pay attention to polling at all? Now, last week you caused some waves on the show when you said, we don't listen to the headlines and we tune that stuff out. You guys are 21st in the AP poll. How is that possible? You dominated last week. Do you guys pay attention to that stuff at all?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we see it. I'm not, it's not like we're just completely blind to it. I mean, no, but at the same time, people are going to rank us what we rank. Exactly. What I'm gonna say the same thing. We're out here, man. Yeah, okay, we're 21, whatever, dude. Let's go out and keep showing them what we can do. You know what I mean? Keep grinding.
Yep.
Put our heads down and grind through this, man, and really bring it to them. So that's all we're thinking about, man.
Sure.
And anything, it gives us some fuel to the fire. You know what I mean? When we don't get recognized for one thing or here, we're like, well, let's freaking just keep at it, man. That's all you can do.
Yeah, and I think as we visit with Harris LaChance, thanks to our friends at Papa Murphy's Pizza here on the Monty Show, I think one of the things that is so evidently different about this team is when you guys are healthy, I don't think there's any doubt you can accomplish all of the goals that you want. You talked about the time you missed last year. I think you're a critical part of that offensive line. The performance that we saw out of Christopher Brooks and Pini Katoa, I thought was really I was excited watching you guys run the football. What does it mean to your offense when you guys can control the line of scrimmage like that and so effectively run the football?
It's just awesome, man. It's exactly what we work for day in and day out, right? To make those big plays and to block like that for those guys and to get those guys some yards, get those guys in the spotlight. That's our goal. So it's awesome, man. It feels so good.
Well, and I thought the sweep was really an effective play for you, obviously right out of the gate. You get a long touchdown there on the outside from Nakua. I thought you guys really controlled not only at the point of attack, but I thought you really pushed USF in the direction that you wanted them to go to make those plays possible. So how important was it for you guys to come out and get that big play right out of the box? But then it felt like, Harris, every single drive, you guys had what you wanted. How much momentum could you feel in the moment of that game?
Oh, yeah. The scoring on the first play was huge. It was fun. And, that's what we like to do. We like to have fun. And you having fun when you're kicking butt and taking names. And so that's the name of the game. So it's like when you have momentum like that, you're going to keep rolling. This week I think it's going to be a little bit more of a grinder. This is a better team. But we want the same sort of momentum. You know what I mean? So you just have to keep in and keep grinding, bro.
Well, and the bigger question is, Puka running 75 yards is pretty easy for him. I mean, I think he was running 20 miles an hour. Do the offensive linemen run down the field to the end zone, or do you wait for the wide receiver group to come back to the sideline to celebrate?
Yeah, I think on the first play, you're amped up. You're running down there. After about a couple touchdowns later, you're like, all right, I'm on field goal, so I'm gonna just hang back loose a little bit, wait for the field goal team.
Oh, did we lose him?
And sorry, and
no, there he is.
And wait for the field goal team to come out, and I'll just wait there.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's all I can do.
All right, so before we cut you loose here, as we visit with Harris LaChance, let me ask you real quick, about what are the things you personally are working on? Obviously, we as laymen who watch you on TV and we watch the way you play and we grade you from our perspective. I mean, it looked like you guys played pretty well. Is there a lot for you guys to clean up? Like when you look at the O-line, how would you grade your performance?
Yeah, so we all graded pretty well. little things is like, okay, you could take a better step here. You could hang on to this guy longer here and pass pro. That's basically what I'm talking about. Things like tuning it up and making it more crisp and clean and even more so maybe aggressive in ways we wanted to be here instead of, he's playing weird. Little things like that. I think for me, it's been fun to learn guard. It's been a little bit different. You have a little bit different angles and pass settings, a lot different from tackle. But I think this summer I had the opportunity to go down to Texas and with Duke Manyweather and go to the O-Line Masterminds.
Nice.
Deal there and worked really close with guys like Lane Johnson and guys like that. And it was really fun to learn and to talk to all these NFL guys about O-line and how they have perfected their craft. And that's really what this position's about is perfecting your crafts and getting better at it each week and understanding if you made a mistake, how to fix it, how to correct it, how to understand the scheme better, footwork better, head placement, hands, things like that. That's huge. And it's a constant thing you're trying to get better at. So
was the plan all along for you to be inside at guard? I mean, because the technique, as you just talked about, I mean, from hip flexibility to, how you have to train your body. So was that the plan all along? Did you know that all summer?
Yeah. So it was, we have a lot of good guys, but we have probably top 7 guys that are really good in this room. So you've seen some rotations. I was kind of switching back and forth from guard into tackle. And then in fall camp, we started kind of just narrowing things down, and they liked me at guard, wanted to see how we were and kind of just rolling with it. If I went back out to tackle, it'd be cool. Keep me a guard, it'd be cool. It's like that. And that's what's great about this room too, is that we can all play pretty versatile. We're all pretty old and know how to, mature and know how to play where we need to. So it works out.
Do you think about how that impacts your NFL chances or your NFL projection when between guard and tackle? I mean, tackles make probably a hell of a lot more money than guards do, but you looked, I got to be honest with you, I've covered offensive line for a long time in college and in the NFL. You looked really comfortable. I mean, I felt like physically, the thing I was looking at you on the field was, how are you flexibility-wise? How are you mobility-wise? How are you at getting to the second level, which is a really important trait in a guard? And it looked like you handled that really well. I mean, are you thinking about those things going forward and how that impacts you as a pro prospect?
Yeah, like I said, yeah, it's cool. I think I would like to think it's probably better that I can play both. I put that on film out there. But at the same time, man, like I said, man, you got to keep that mentality of you're out here to have fun and to play wherever the team needs you and to win. You know what I mean? Like, if they want to play center, then I'll freaking play center and let's go win, man. Like, that's what we want to do. So that's how I feel. And yeah, it's exciting. It's fun.
Okay, so last question is, first road game as a dad. So you're out late, you get home. What was that whole experience like, being away from your wife and being away from your young one? Like, how was that for you as a new dad?
Well, I mean, all fall camp I've been away all day long, so I've only seen him at nighttime anyway. I miss my son when I'm on the road. My wife sends me videos of him crawling around, and he's getting strong now. He can lift himself up on things, so it's even more, we're like, we got to watch this kid, man, because he's getting freaking strong already, man. Like, this kid's slinging around. But
so are you guys, wait a minute, are you guys much more of a 1 or 2 kid thing, or are you guys trying to like produce an entire offensive line? Like, how many kids are we projecting out to here, Harris?
See, this is the bad questions. You can't ask me these questions, man. I'm like, I wonder if my wife sees this video, bro. I'm like, I don't know. I can't answer that question.
I'm telling you, two is fine. But I'm in Kona with a family house where, like, there are people here who have like 3 kids, and you get from 2 to 3, it's impossible because you only have 2 hands. I'm telling you got to consider these little things, man. So I won't put you on the spot with that, but I'm much more in, this is my only one. Jake's the only one that I have. I'm telling you, That was my route. Don't field an offensive line room. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, for real. The food bill alone, man.
Right? You're welcome. Free advice from Uncle Monty to Harris LaChance. Harris, appreciate you. Stay healthy, man. Great watching you play, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, brother.
There you go. You bet. That's Harris LaChance, BYU offensive lineman. Really good stuff there. Let's come back and recap that, of course, as he is every week. Harris LaChance presented by Papa Murphy's Pizza.
No one goes all in on made-from-scratch freshness like Papa Murphy's. Because when you go all in, people notice. Go all in with the Triple Pet Pizza for just $11.99. Papa Murphy's. Change the way you pizza.